On May 17th, the world witnessed a huge world record that was honestly way better than most remember.
Running out of track here in Atlanta, and Faber Ofili striding her way to the line.
In the 2025 Atlanta City Games, one athlete representing Nigeria achieved one of the most stunning times in history. In this 150-meter race, we saw a brand new world record in 15.85 seconds, and the woman achieving this time was Faber Ofili, and she didn't just break the world record, she absolutely smashed it. This time placed her well ahead of any other 150 clocking in history. In fact, it's even significantly faster than the 150 splits that Shericka Jackson achieved in her number 2 all-time performance in the 200 meters, and it even outpaced the 150 split of the great Florence Griffith Joyner from her 1988 world record in the 200 meters, where she achieved a time of 21.34. This 15.85 makes Ofili the only female athlete in track and field history to break 16 seconds in the 150. And with a time like this, you would think that she would be upheld as a true superstar by her home country, a hero among the people, ready to challenge the world's best on the biggest stages in athletics. This would be an understandable expectation, especially when you look at the national records that she has already broken for Nigeria, especially over the 200 meters. However, sadly, this is just not the case. Because in the 2024 Olympics, Ofili was slated to run in the 100 meters, but by some impossible oversight, she wasn't even added to the 100-meter field because Nigeria failed to get her name on the starting list. And because of this, she missed out on a huge chance at competing in one of the most viewed moments in all of track and field. This is already a huge issue. Like, how is this even possible? Imagine putting in full-time effort on the track just for a moment to compete with the world's best, and then you have your name completely off the starting list in one of your primary events. This was just awful, but unfortunately, this is actually the second consecutive Olympics where Ofili was not signed up accordingly through her home country of Nigeria, because if we go back to the Tokyo Olympics back in 2021, we saw a nearly identical situation as Ofili didn't even run in Tokyo. It really doesn't get much worse than this. And with such dysfunction surrounding the basics of getting into a race, what options do you have here? Do you petition for your home country to make the right changes moving forward to the next Olympics? Do you put your home country on trial and wait for some other kind of compensation? Well, there's actually another alternative that a few key athletes have jumped on recently. And while some see this as a measured response to the problems athletes are currently facing, others see it as outright betrayal. Earlier today, it was announced that Faber Ofili would be switching her allegiance from Nigeria to Turkey. This move at first glance seems a little bit random, but allow me to show you a single graphic that might answer a few of your questions here. Well, yeah, that definitely makes more sense. This incentive for medaling in the Olympics is already a very big deal, as Turkey has one of the highest payouts of any country in the world. But this is really only the beginning of the compensation athletes could potentially receive, as it's currently being reported that there will be a $500,000 signing bonus, there will be monthly stipends, and there's also going to be various payouts for high performances during the year. Now, Ofili claimed that her reasons for switching here were not completely financially motivated, as dealing with the issues from Nigeria has left her disheartened, and she simply wants to be able to compete come the Olympic Games, which is completely understandable. In addition to Faber Ofili making this switch, it has also recently been confirmed that Roger Stona, the Paris Olympic champion in the men's discus, and Rajendra Campbell, the bronze medalist from the Paris Olympics in the men's shot put, both representing Jamaica, will also be making this move over to Turkey, meaning that 3 very big athletes have already made this change. What many people do not realize is that competing in athletics, for some, is honestly a sacrifice, because they simply do not make the money to support their dreams, so just making it to the competition is already a massive challenge. Now, this kind of struggle does happen to many around the world, who have to work part-time jobs or even full-time jobs to support their aspirations in athletics. But when it comes to the top of the world athletes, even Olympic champions, you would think that they would get at least some funding, and you would also think they wouldn't have to change allegiances. Seeing a world record holder, an Olympic champion, and an Olympic bronze medalist make a move like this points to a much higher problem with national support, or just basic national organization. Honestly, for each of these athletes, I do not blame them for switching. When you see other athletes from other countries reaching their goals with huge support from their country and sponsors, it must be completely demoralizing to watch them succeed while you have to work a job and hustle for potential sponsors. It is no fun seeing such dysfunction going down in athletics like this, and it sucks to have athletes face such problems. But the good news is that change seems to be coming. In addition to this Turkey opportunity, one of the biggest motivating factors for people joining Grand Slam this season was the prize money. And at $100,000 for a first-place finish, it brought out some pretty big names, such as Kenny Bednarek, Melissa Jefferson, Gabby Thomas, and Marco Arop. And while the long-term stability of such a system is yet to be completely determined, this seems to be creating a trend across the board, as next year we will be seeing the World Athletics Ultimate Championship bring out much more prize money than we have seen in recent years. So it really does seem as though athlete compensation and support is becoming a much bigger deal in track and field. It is quite unfortunate that athletes of this caliber have to resort to actions like this. Ultimately, these decisions were probably quite difficult to make. They probably wanted to continue to support their home country. They probably wanted to push national pride and loyalty. However, eventually, you hit a breaking point. And for these three, that breaking point had clearly been reached. And it seems as though there are other people looking to make moves like this. And some might move to Turkey, some might move to Hong Kong, which apparently has even higher payouts for Olympic medals. But for now, these three making this move is quite the influential moment in athletics, and it will be quite interesting to see how they compete in this year's World Championships. And now, I would love to hear from all of you about this changing of allegiances. Do you think these athletes needed to make this move? Do you think this was the wrong call? Do you think this was a form of betrayal? I'm very curious to see how this hits all of your ears, because this is a very interesting development in track and field. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time.